Around 160,000 Hollywood actors may be going on strike soon.
And that's because the union representing them, SAG-AFTRA, could not come to terms with major studios on a new labor deal.
SAG-AFTRA President Fran Drescher referred to the studio's negotiations as insulting and disrespectful. The union is demanding higher wages, increased residual payments from streaming services, and job protections from artificial intelligence for its actors.
We're joined now by one of those actors, Mehdi Barakchian. Mehdi has been in hit shows. You've seen some of them, Manifest, You, and The Last OG. It's great to have you with us and share your personal experience, Mehdi. You're protesting out there with the WGA writers. Talk to us about what this is like for you. I know you've described yourself as like a middle-class actor, and maybe even share with us some of your residual paychecks that help explain what this is all about.
Absolutely. Lana, Errol, both of you, thank you so much for giving light to this issue. It's exciting as someone who's in my position, who is what I would call a middle-class actor, someone that maybe you don't recognize my face immediately, but you've seen me around on television. That's the majority of us who are in the union. That's a very small percent that are the folks that you recognize, the A-listers. And we're the ones who've been impacted by this the most. The reality is that it used to be such that you could make a living. I'm not talking about red carpets and champagne. I mean just the standard American living by working on television as a middle-class actor, as someone who shows up as a guest star or a recurring role, which is somebody who you'll see, for a handful of scenes every episode. And I've been very, very fortunate. That's a tremendous achievement. But the reality is we can no longer make a living doing that. Something that I may have been in 2017, 2018, 2019 would have aired on network television, and I would have been able to pay my rent, one day own a home, one day plan for a family. But the reality is that with streaming and the changes in technology and inflation, none of the current rates represent any of that. We're on much older contracts.
Mehdi, I'm glad that you are able to speak on this, because I think that a lot of times when we're talking about actors, people are imagining those Hollywood A-listers and wondering, why are they even in the union? What are they complaining about? But in addition to talking about things like increased residual pay, there are all these other new technologies that come into play and putting into place some guardrail protections from things like AI, so that things that are streamed repeatedly still provide payment to people who are working. It's something that should have probably been discussed a while back, but now is the time. Talk to us about why that's so important, and particularly that question about AI and being able to control your likeness.
Absolutely. You guys just did a segment on the avocado machine that will take the pits out of the avocados, and then a human gets to mash it afterward. That's kind of the same thing that's happening with AI. The reality is that AI is an advancement in technology. We're talking about the potential for them to be able to use our name, our likeness, our movements, our voice for future projects without our consent. And when you look at AI and what it is fundamentally, what are we talking about? We're talking about content that was created previously from lived experiences by writers, by artists, by painters, by anyone who works in those fields. And what AI is doing is taking the regurgitated average of all that and presenting it as new material. I personally believe that you're not going to be able to replace actors necessarily with that, but there is a bridge that they are trying to gap here by being able to cut us out and make more money without having to pay us. And that has to be addressed. This is very similar to the kind of issues that labor unions like Amazon labor unions and anyone who works, let's say, in a field of carpentry or in any of those fields. When you have technology coming in, there have to be changes made to the contracts so that you don't end up taking this entire middle class of workers and effectively eliminating them. And to touch on the A-listers and Hollywood folks that everyone seems to think are the ones who are complaining, the folks out there, the A-listers, the Meryl Streeps, the Julie Louis-Dreyfuses who are speaking, they're speaking for us. Those of us who don't have the voice, those of us who are working on the minimums. They don't have to worry about the minimum amount they have to make on a one-day contract, or that they have to make $26,000 this year to have health insurance next year, which more than half of us in the union can't make.
And I think that's a good point. What a lot of folks don't realize is what's being negotiated here is a baseline, a minimum amount to earn and to keep earning for the work you've already been doing. Look, it's getting heated, right? The studios say what they're offering is historic.
Absolutely.
Fran Drescher, representing SAG, says actually what they're offering is insulting and disrespectful. Do you feel a sense that things are being negotiated in good sense, or are we just witnessing a massive cultural and economic shift in front of our eyes?
I think it's both. I think what's happening here is that, look, what's going to happen in this is that we have a lot of eyes on this situation. People are paying attention to what's going to happen with us in AI because it's going to send repercussions across other industries. We're the first ones that have to face it in terms of literally facing, in terms of us being on camera and the use of that. But all the industries are going to have to come to terms with that. I think many of them are looking at SAG-AFTRA and these labor negotiations as a precedence for, okay, well, if they're able to stand up for themselves and say you can't use copyrighted material without the consent or payment to those people who originally created it, then you don't get to use it at all. And that's something that I would love to see other unions and the folks who are working across other industries to step forward and say, you know what, that makes sense because that's going to affect all of us.
It's like taking that avocado machine, dressing it up like you, naming it you, and then laying you off.
Yeah. No,
and then you also didn't need to build an avocado machine. You just had to type it into a computer to do it, you know?
Yeah. Look, there's no replacing Mehdi Barakchian. We appreciate you as a representative of middle-class actors, really opening everyone's eyes to what's really happening here. Thanks for joining us on CBS News today.
Thank you, guys. We can't replace you either, Errol and Alana, okay? Don't let them.
Thank you. Thank you.